Well, welcome back. If you've joined us off the live stream that we've just ran a moment ago, which was for our webinar Q&A, we are now going to give you a sneak peek into this coming Saturday's webinar. That's May 2nd, 10 a.m. UK time. We're going to be running another webinar. And what I want to do here is just give you an insight, an elevator view from Ian as to what Ian is going to cover on that webinar. On the previous interview that we've ran, we spoke a little bit, or Ian spoke a little bit about the Monopoly board and how it works. And Ian, you've just put together quite a detailed technical document for people who want to know how the commercial Monopoly board works. And that is exactly what this weekend's webinar is going to be all about, isn't it?
It is, and it's the product of many years of my research, and I'm quietly a bit proud of it, because I think I've joined the dots up in such a way that it justifies everything we're doing and how we're doing it. But I've gone more than just ideologies and theories. I actually quote a lot of technical references that back it up. And because that's the background I come from, whenever I used to make recommendations to my clients back in the day when I used to run people's money for them and organize all their finances, I used to give them all the technical references as to why they should do what I'm recommending, why it works and how it works and why it works. And that's what I've done here, because I think it's a good discipline, rather than just say it's like this and believe me. Well, it's like this and go and look at that, because that reference, that statute, that code in the tax manuals or whatever it is that I'm referring to actually supports it and backs it up.
Yeah.
And if I was ever going to stand in a courtroom and argue that this ideology is true in the law, then this document would absolutely be centerpiece of my evidence.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, last Saturday, we revealed to you that all of this is geared around the commercial system that we live and work in, and that it's a game of Monopoly. The difference being it's a game of Monopoly with two rule books. You've got the basic one that you're playing from now, and then you've got the hidden rule book that they don't want you to know about, don't want you to read it, and certainly don't want you to play using those rules. The solution that we presented last Saturday was our flagship, the Monopoly Game Changer Protocol. But today, we want to give you a sneak peek into this coming Saturday's webinar, where we're actually going to be focusing more on the Monopoly board itself and how it works. If you want to win at this game, you need to know the rules, but you also need to understand the board you're playing on as well. So, Ian, let's dive into this. I mean, the first big thing, I think, is just the illusion, isn't it, of this board? And it is such a rigged game if people don't understand how it works. Could you describe, just very briefly, the world, you describe it as a commercial Monopoly board, where we see our names in all caps letters, on every bill, every bank statement, every transaction that we make, every loan, every credit card. Why is this quote unquote citizen identity the primary tool that the system uses to keep us trapped?
Well, it's really a very sophisticated trap and deception rolled into one. We're trapped, our energy's trapped on the Monopoly board, which is a artificial construct, and we're deceived into believing that we are the entity that is operating and playing as the player piece, the game of Monopoly. So it's two things in one. They've trapped our energy, whilst at the same time letting us believe that we own things and that we can prosper by working hard, doing well, accumulating, buying bigger and better, and all of those things which a lot of people aspire to, because that's how they've been sort of programmed to get recognition on the board. So there's the illusion of ownership, there is the illusion of prosperity, there is the programming aspect of must work hard, must keep doing what I'm doing, or get better at what I'm doing, or carve out my pathway with my career, with my business, with my venture. Which, by the way, a lot of people, and I had a lot of business owners in my client base years ago. When you actually get to know them and chat to them about, do you actually like your business? And most of them will say, do you know what? I hate my business because it's crap. I have to keep working at it. And it's like, don't work at it, it collapses. And if I do really well, then I have other problems that come along, and I know what they are because I did very well for a while. You get all sorts of other problems coming along. And people say it's a trap and they want to get rid of it, which is why most people create a business and then want to sell it at some point because they don't actually enjoy it anymore.
Right.
There aren't that many business owners that I've ever met who can't wait for the week to start and they get back into their business. It's kind of ironic, actually. You'd think business owners would really enjoy it. Some do. I'm not saying they all don't enjoy it, but I was one that did enjoy it, what I used to do. But I wasn't doing it for the money, you see. So I was just doing it to solve problems and help people by solving their problem. So I enjoyed that, but a lot of business owners don't enjoy what they do. It's a very tough. The monopoly board's a very, very competitive place, and you've got to be all about. You've got to have all your wits about you. You've got to play skillfully within the rule book that you think that the game operates under, but that isn't actually the rule book that you should be focusing on, and that's the one that I'm going to be talking about on Saturday. There's two sets of rules. There's the common popular belief rule book, and then there's the reality rule book, the real way of playing it that they don't really want you to know, because if you knew it, and not only if you knew it, if you used it and actually applied the rules, then you wouldn't be a slave anymore. And it's as simple as that. The popular belief rule book keeps you in slavery, and the one that you're not meant to know about frees you and causes you to break free of the slavery model. And that is why they don't want you to know, because they want everybody. It's a modern slavery system, the Monopoly Board of Commerce. Even though it looks like there's privileges, ownership, it looks like you can prosper. People get what they think are their freedoms. They can have holidays and they can have all sorts of things that look like they're options that give you freedom. But in reality, it is based on modern slavery. And that's what I'm uncovering.
I'm super excited for people to know about that. Imagine if you got a physical game of Monopoly in front of you and you take the lid off, and then typically speaking, you've got the board there and you've got the little rule sheet on the top. Now imagine taking all of that out, and underneath everything, there's another rule book that no one ever told you about. That is what we're going to be talking about on Saturday. And this, the main sort of element of trapping people that they don't really understand is the secret of the signature itself, isn't it? That you are not a debtor, you are the creditor. So in terms of that side of things, you say that we are actually the creditor, the source of all credit from our signature. If people watching this realize that their signature is what actually funded the car loan, the mortgage, whatever it may be, how does that flip the entire power dynamic in terms of what they're going to learn on Saturday?
Well, we've all been programmed to believe that there's money of substance. We've been programmed to believe that that the money system is too complicated for us to understand, so we won't even bother looking into it. It's a black box. We'll let the professionals manage all the money because that's what they're good at, and we're not that good at it, so we'll carry on doing what we are good at. It's a mystery. Most people have got absolutely no idea how it really works, and never even asked the question how it works because it sounds a bit too complicated, so we won't go there. And that's generally what that's a program reaction or behavior. Make it sound really complicated, bring in the so-called experts, so that they can look after it, which is there's armies of so-called financial experts around the world. I used to be one of them, I can honestly say that there's hardly any of them that actually understand how it works, which is ironic, isn't it? That you go to experts and they don't really understand how the commerce system works. It's because it's not taught anywhere, and they don't really want anyone to know about it. So the secret of the signature, when you believe that you're making bank payments, actually you're not. You're issuing energy onto a monopoly board, which is artificial. You can get that energy back, which is what they don't want you to know. There is no such thing as a payment. You can't pay anything because there's no money of substance. Nobody can own anything. So even if you think you're doing really, really well, you actually don't own anything tangibly. You only own you own the equitable title, and you are the creditor. The board can't operate without your energy, and that's as simple as that. You've lent your energy into the board. You've kind of made a loan of it, and you've just left it there. And unless you claim it back, well, not the energy itself, but the tax is on the energy, then you're going to be carrying on running your business that you don't like, or doing the job that you don't like, and you're in the rat race. Racing around that hamster wheel, trying to keep it from falling over, which is where most people are, which is exactly the way that they want you to behave, because that's the modern slavery system. Whilst it appears to have lots of privileges, which is the genius of it.
Yeah, it really is. So on Saturday, you're going to learn how this monopoly board actually works. What is it all about? How is it constructed? Where's the significance of you and the player piece on that board? But also, you're going to learn about our flagship solution to being on that hamster wheel. If any of this is starting to, spark some interest in you, and you're starting to have a few light bulb moments about why you're feeling so tired, why you maybe do feel trapped, why things don't seem to make sense when you watch the news, whatever it may be, you're going to learn about that on Saturday when it comes to how you have been trapped into this commercial slavery model. But there is a solution to that. And that's the difference between the Republic of Old Souls and many other people who also feel something's off, something's not right. People often talk about the problems, but they don't talk or address a real workable solution to that. So in addition to people understanding how the monopoly board itself works and understanding this new rule book that they can play by, we've also got our flagship solution, which is 3 protocols. So Ian, you've talked about the Envoy protocol, the Asset Fortress protocol, and the Currency Creation protocol as well. And that those have been packaged into one solution, which we call the Monopoly Game Changer protocol itself. Why is it vital for anybody that's going to be coming on Saturday? Why do you feel it's vital for them to protect their identity, their property, and their energy all at once, rather than maybe just doing it piece by piece?
Well, most people are in debt. Most people have got taxes to pay. Most people don't realize that they don't own any assets. They just have the use of them. And they're playing a game that they don't know that they're playing. And even though it looks like they can prosper from that game, in the final analysis, when the music stops playing and the chips are being counted, nobody on the board owns anything. So you're all playing a game with literally is a zero-sum game. There is nothing to gain from it apart from the experience of playing and the illusion of ownership and the illusion of prosperity. Well, the 3 protocols added together take away the threat of being tracked and traced, because that's a real big threat, and your digital money being curtailed or constrained because your behavior is not in line with what those that control the monopoly board want. And that's evident from many, many examples of the constraint over people's banking and what they can spend their funds on. It's getting worse and worse. So that's one solution. Most people have got a need for a cash flow coming in because they've got to live, they've got a family to support, they've got costs, they've got expenses, the only way normally to fund those is either out of savings, and they eventually run out, or it's from going out and earning, trying to create economic activity, bringing cash flows in so that you've got the ability to keep your family, from the poorhouse effectively. And that's a big problem. The protocols solve that and more, a lot more than that. And then you've got the problem of what do you leave when your body's given up and you've moved on to another realm? Do you want to leave real assets to your heirs? And of course, most people say, well, they go and get a will, or they'll put things in trust, but they don't realize that they're not actually putting anything of tangible value in a trust or through a will. So because they don't understand that they don't own anything in the first place. They just get to use the stuff with the equitable title. So our programs enables you to actually own things, genuinely own them in a trust, in a proper trust that you can leave to your heirs. So it solves the privacy and digital tracking and tracing. It solves the debt and tax and cost of living problem, and it solves the ownership, the true ownership of assets, real ownership, not use, not equitable title. You can actually get real ownership. You can convert the what I call is the artificial non-substance money into real money that is gold, silver, or tangible assets that you can hold the ownership of, as opposed to artificial non-substance money, which only buys equitable titles of things, which gives you the use of them, but you never own them, and you can't leave them to your family because you didn't own them in the first place.
Okay. Now, a lot of people are going to be thinking, this sounds great. I'm just trying to put my head in the space of somebody that might be watching this. And let's be fair, the cost of living crisis has hit people hard. And a lot of people might be sitting there thinking, this sounds great, but the last thing on my mind is a trust, having assets to pass down to my heirs. This sounds like it's something for maybe people who are better off than I am, more financially stable than I am. How could this possibly help me? So I want to talk about that as well, because you've also removed the barrier to entry for people so that anybody can benefit from these protocols as well, regardless of your current situation, as long as you've been playing on the Monopoly board. And even if you've been playing in the wrong way, we're going to show you how to play the right way, but also show you how you can benefit from those protocols that Ian's just mentioned. So when it comes to Saturday, what are people going to learn when it comes to this barrier? Because I think a lot of people they are in fear, because they've got no savings. I think there was a poll done not so long ago, and this was a US poll, but the average American family that are getting close to retirement age already have less than $10,000 in savings to their name. So they've got no retirement fund, nothing. This is why you have 75, 80-year-old, men and women working in Walmart as the meet and greet at the doors and things like that, literally still having to work until the day they physically cannot do it anymore. So how does the webinar reward scheme allow someone to be able to start this pathway to freedom just by referring other people?
Well, I recognise that there's two objectives here. One objective is that we're growing our membership base, so we want more and more people to come and have a look at what we're offering and see if they like it, and maybe they enrol and get started and join up and become an envoy and start to benefit from the Monopoly Game Changer package or protocol. So that's one objective. But of course, the other one is that there are people out there who just don't have a cash flow sufficient coming in that gives them a surplus for them to be able to to put their some of their spare cash, because they don't have any, to enroll in the Game Changer protocol itself. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, well, if you don't have the fiat currency, which by the way is a zero-sum game, so even those that have funded a donation to enroll, they get that back because they recoup it. So it's only a cash flow exercise. It's not a cost. Our entire program is free, zero, because there is no money, and whatever you put in to enroll, you recoup. So our whole program is already free, which a lot of people will be surprised to hear. But for those who don't have the digits in their account to be able to enroll, and they can't enroll and recoup because they don't have the digits available, they probably know people. They probably know a network of people that they can refer just to come and watch webinars. That's all. Those people don't have to join. They don't have to enroll. But I want them to come to my webinars so that they might think, you know what, this is really interesting. I'm gonna crack on and do this. I'm gonna get on with it, and I'm gonna change my entire life because the information that I'm learning about really resonates, and it's answering all the questions that I've been asking quietly that nobody else had ever answered.
Okay,
and that's it. It's two objectives, really.
Perfect. So there's an entry point for everybody, is what we're saying here. So in terms of Saturday, why should people attend? If someone's watching this for the first time, why should they come?
Well, I mean, if I could wind the clock back to maybe in my early 20s and learn then what I know now and what I am teaching on my webinars, my life would have been so different. I would have been able to have probably designed a lot of other solutions. I would have had the budget to have done it earlier. I wouldn't have had the stress of running large organizations for many years with all the stresses and challenges that come with it. And that's the opportunity I'm giving you. If you're watching this thinking, shall I bother coming? I'm 60. I've been playing Monopoly for 42 years. I've only recently learned how to play it in the last 5 years properly. I'm giving you that chance. You can come into a masterclass and learn from me on how to play this game where you don't have to struggle. You don't have to play the game and own nothing, because that's where you are at the moment. You don't have to think about your retirement fund. Oh my God, I need to save up for my retirement. You can solve all of those issues and probably, going forward, give up the job that you don't like, maybe give up the business that you don't like, or sell it to someone who may like it. And you can live very abundantly with assets that you really own in your trust that you can leave to your heirs. And you can avoid the track and trace, which is ultimately going to come. And even if you don't realize it now, you're going to start to see it, where if you don't behave the way they want, they're going to curtail your spending. You can avoid that. You can discharge all your debt. You can discharge all your taxes, not through some aggressive challenge in the courtroom, even though that some of those things are possible. But you can discharge all of your debt and taxes peacefully and then recoup the signature credit energy that was used, your signature credit energy that was used to discharge the debts and the taxes. So think of a world where you've got no credit card debt, no loan, no mortgage. You've got a repeatable signature credit recoupment event every year, which is more than you probably are earning now by many multiples more, because you're recouping the signature energy that you've put on the board since the age of 18. That's bank payments, mortgages, loans, credit cards. It's pretty substantial. Most of our members are in the millions in what they are going to be recouping. So it's life-changing. And then you can spend and recoup that every year. So to me, who wouldn't want to know about that?
Yeah, I know. Life-changing seems to be a bit of an understatement to me, Ian. So in terms of final thoughts and call to action, I would simply say, if you want to register for this Saturday's webinar, go to roswebinars.com republic.is. You can register there. If you're a member on the Republic of Old Souls platform anyway, you can register through your platform. And if you are wanting to benefit from the referral program and look at lowering that barrier to entry, then you will also have in your platform a referral link. You can pass that out through your social media. You can pass it out to your friends and your family. Let's get as many people onto this life-changing webinar as we possibly can. And that's going to be 10 a.m. UK time this coming Saturday, 2nd of May. So Ian, final thoughts before we wrap up today.
Yeah, I mean, there's a solution to every problem. That's what I do. I find solutions. I design them. What's going on now is a pretty big problem. Most people are experiencing a big problem. The solutions are very, very limited. The conventional solution is to work harder, is to be a good citizen, work harder, do more to try and earn more, and play the game the way they want you to play it as a slave. Well, you don't have to play it as a slave. You can play it as the master. You can play it as the creditor. You don't have to go and learn it all and then go and organize it all. We facilitate it. We teach you how to do it. We facilitate it. And there's lots of people already doing it. And, you're not going to be the first one to join. So you won't be on your own. There's lots of people already doing this, that you'll be a part of that community.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited for Saturday, Ian. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Go and register for the webinar now. And we will see you Saturday morning, 10 a.m. UK time. Bye for now.